Imagine you had one of these unopened in the box with the cellophane. It would certainly be worth a whole lot more than an ounce of gold. Nonetheless, gold has eternal value and is usually measured in price in ounces, like this 1 ounce gold bar. We're a really nice close-up of it. But we're going to compare the gold to iPhone ratio in this video and have a little bit of fun as we explore. That's right, we're going to have a little bit of fun. I found an article that talks a little bit about the gold to iPhone ratio. We know the gold to silver ratio. We know there's the platinum to gold ratio. There's a lot of different ratios. We even have the Big Mac to gold ratio. And that's how one measure of inflation is by looking at the Big Mac index, they call it. But gold is certainly a metal that we can all relate to in this community. But many of us have also phones, right? We have our own cell phones or mobile phones, which are essentially computers. And this is the iPhone 1, and we're going to compare. There was a great publication that was put out that looks at the In Gold We Trust report from Incrementum, and that looks and studies the iPhone to gold ratios. We're going to go through this pretty interesting, fascinating thing here. And this starts out by talking about the iPhone gold ratio in 2023. And Apple slashed its prices on its latest iPhone. That's what the headlines would read, should you have paid for your iPhone with gold? And this is an argument for the case for gold. But you'll see here in some of these charts how it does kind of fluctuate a bit. But regardless, if the iPhone 15 Pro, which is the latest model with 1 terabyte of storage, now costs just 0.78 ounces of gold. So just over 3/4 of an ounce of gold and a little more than 10% less than it was last year. In 2022, the iPhone 14 had a price of 0.87 ounces of gold. So almost 9/10 of an ounce would be needed in order to buy an iPhone last year for the 14. And that was a sharp increase in the price of gold in US dollars. That's been about 11.5% increase over the past year. Combined with constantly rising prices in US dollar terms, results in a sharp decline in iPhone prices when measured against gold. By comparison, the very first iPhone, which came out in 2007, we saw an image of it in the open here, came at a cost of 0.92 ounces of gold. Yeah, it almost cost a full ounce of gold essentially to buy the very first iPhone when it came out. The average price of gold since 2007 is 0.75 ounces. That's the average price of gold since then that the iPhone was priced in, if we're using gold as a measure. And this chart kind of shows you through the course of time from the iPhone all the way up 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You can see here the iPhone price in gold in this chart, and the gold price in US dollars. See how it's going up over the years, and the iPhone price in US dollars over the course of the years. Pretty remarkable, pretty amazing. As a gold investor, you have to spend much less gold for the current iPhone than you did 16 years ago. However, you get a lot more iPhone for less gold. That is the other thing to think about too. This is because the current iPhone 15 Pro has only the name in common with the original iPhone. The performance of the iPhone 15 is far superior to that of the first generation iPhone. Performance improvements over the past 16 years have indeed been enormous. It's something we cannot discount for sure when we're looking at these numbers and these statistics. In 2007, it had 128 megabytes of memory and 16 gigs of storage, and a 2 megapixel camera and only one camera. And it had a very small resolution display as well too, a 480 by 320. But now you go up through the years, we can see how it's gone. Now it has 6 gigs of memory, 6 gigabytes of memory, and a terabyte of storage for the iPhone 15 Pro. A 48 megapixel camera. That's pretty remarkable. And it's got 3 cameras on it. And pretty crazy. And it's a 48 increase of memory, 64 times increase of storage space, 3 times more cameras, and pretty amazing, pretty wild. Every iPhone buyer now gets significantly more iPhone when compared to any previous year. As a gold investor, you have to pay even less gold for significantly improved quality and performance than the original iPhone. And of course, we talk about in this community how, it's probably not wise to just go out and buy the latest, greatest tech device like this. You're better off getting that ounce of gold over a course of time, because what happens in these iPhones, they essentially get recycled. They become worth pretty much nothing. They get thrown out. They get tossed out. Whereas gold is eternal. It lasts forever. Unless you have an original iPhone in its original packaging, then that's worth a whole lot more. But I digress. But nonetheless, it's fun to kind of take a look and see what this metric is, because how important and how much the iPhone has changed our lives. And when you look at it compared to gold, it really does put things in perspective to a degree. In fiat currency like the US dollar, on the other hand, the trend looks completely different. Even though iPhone prices were again not increased this year in spite of high inflation rates, in 2007 the price of an iPhone was $599. Today, as in 2 previous years, the price is $1499 for the respective Pro models with the largest memories, more than double. When compared to the first version of the iPhone, that corresponds to a price increase of 150%, or an annual iPhone inflation rate of 5 to 9%, which is much higher than regular inflation. Therefore, year after year, you get less and less iPhone for $1,000 there. So that's kind of an interesting thing to see here. Look and see how the price has gone up. iPhones per 1,000 in US dollars. So you get much less iPhone. You got to pay about $1,600 for $1,500 now for one. Pretty crazy when you think about that. So what are the takeaways here? Priced in gold, this year's iPhones are significantly cheaper than last year when you look at the price of gold. Of course, we don't buy iPhones in gold, though. This is just a thought exercise. We're buying it in cash, money, dollars, these things that you're hearing right there. And you can get the iPhone 15 Pro for 0.78 ounces of gold, while an iPhone 14 Pro was more than 10% more expensive at 0.87 ounces of gold last year. And in 2007, it was even more expensive with a price tag of almost a full ounce, just over 9/10 of an ounce of gold. A gold investor today has a technologically far superior iPhone than back then, or last year for that matter, and you get it for a lot less gold. In dollar terms, however, the price for an iPhone rose by roughly 150% since 2007. And that equals an average iPhone inflation rate between 5 and 9%. So when you think about that, and this graph really shows that fairly well in gold, is that you are getting, for sure, much more bang for your buck if you were to sell your gold and buy an iPhone. If you bought gold, at the right price a while ago, you're definitely doing well. So somebody could, if they really wanted to, any gold that they bought in 2007, whatever the 2007 prices were, definitely far lower than $1,000 an ounce. You could take that money or take that gold bar and sell it and have money left over and walk away with an iPhone 15 Pro for less than $1,000 that you paid for back then. That kind of puts it into perspective here. There you can see the price tags in gold for all of the major big developments over the course of 4 different versions there. Pretty amazing, pretty remarkable indeed. And by the way, this is the appendix here has every year that the iPhone has been released with the price. We're going to kind of zoom in here to kind of take a look at this, because I find this quite fascinating to see there what it was. Let's find the lowest it's been. In 2012, the iPhone 5, it was 0.48. 0.48, so that's just over a half ounce, or just under a half ounce of gold. That was $849 in 2012 for the iPhone 5. And that's kind of interesting to see. Of course, the gold had fallen so far back then. But anyways, pretty cool, pretty crazy to see, year-over-year increase, no increase at all during that year. In fact, there was no increase in price until the iPhone X came out in 2017. By the way, I don't own an iPhone, just so you know, understand, but that's kind of interesting. And it went up there then. But in 2018, the iPhone XS, it was at $1349. That took 1.13 ounces of gold to get an iPhone X. The gold was cheaper then. So there are anomalies in these cases. It goes to show you kind of how nuanced things are. You go from just a few years ago, less than a half an ounce, all the way up to over 1.1 ounces of gold to buy an iPhone. Fascinating indeed. But now it's kind of evened itself out as we've gone down back through the ages. And even though the price is now $14.99, no increase for the iPhone 15 Pro, boom shalaka, it is indeed, less than an ounce of gold to get yourself an iPhone 15 Pro. Are any of you going to trade your gold for an iPhone 15 Pro? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope it's a big fat no. But hey, you never know. Very well could be that it might be working and maybe okay for you. If it is, that's no problem. Let me know what your thoughts are. I think if you have one of these in the original cellophane wrap, you're doing very, very good. If you have some of this in your stack, you're doing very, very good. In fact, even better. Because gold, I think, is the ultimate. Gold is the emperor, essentially. So let me know what your thoughts are. I hope you found this video informative, insightful, and slightly educational. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for watching, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.